What do you feel was the best aspect of this experience of Creative Rahway?
I think bringing the people together. There were a number of people I knew, but then there were so many others, and just the enthusiasm of the group and how positive they were, and also the youth and the energy of the group. That it wasn't the traditional individuals who used to always come out for these kinds of things. There were a lot of new and exciting people, and that's very encouraging.
I thought it was really good that people did have the freedom to wander from group to group.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watched, you saw groups coalesce. Little tables moved around. They started in one place, but ideas spread and infiltrated through other groups and inspired other conversations. And by the second day, today, you notice that people did tend to go to certain areas of interest, but they shared all of the things they had learned the day before, and the groups were really effective. There was a lot of enthusiasm, and things actually, you could see progress, you could see things actually getting done. It was definitely worthwhile.
Do you feel like we're going to be able to continue this passion outside of the doors, that the networks that were created are strong enough to bring into the real world?
I have more hope than I might have under other circumstances when programs like this were done years ago. I think the social media, the commitment of Creative New Jersey, having done this before, and also being able to guide the team committee and the host committee in terms of how this can be continued. And it's our own fault if it doesn't continue.
I certainly think we made a healthy start.
Right.
And there are definite directions planned and definite events planned. And people who want to carry this on were given directions in which to go that were very positive and definite. It wasn't just a vague, well, you could do this. At the end, you saw people saying, well, we can get together and we can do this, and then we can add you to the group, and well, maybe I can do this with you. So it really did seem to be cemented.
And some people were already talking about getting together or
Yes.
pulling a group together. And I think also the wealth of information and contacts that people in the room had and were willing to share, not necessarily that they were just going to, oh, I'll do that, or I'll volunteer, or I'm interested, and then walk away. They have contact information of legitimate people who, in both business and the arts and in other areas, that can be resources for us. And even if it means, hiring someone, it's the beginning of this next phase in Rahway. I see, where we are now as opposed to where we were 5-7 years ago, and certainly before that. And we can't backslide. We need to move forward. And not necessarily, if people are not doing something, work around them, find ways to do things.
And I think it's kind of affirming that you saw people from very different areas, just residents, people who were volunteers, certainly business people, but everybody seemed to be on the same track. And it was nice to see that everybody was on the same track. I think it's reaffirming to each other, you have your vision of where you'd like things to go. But it's nice to know that everybody else is pretty much on the same track. You are all headed in the same direction. You're not 6 people on individual tracks who really aren't going to get there by yourselves. But with getting together, there's a chance you could really get there.
That was great. Do you have any other closing, anything that you'd like to say?
Well, I have a lot of faith in the format that Elizabeth and Wendy led us through from the beginning, both the in-person meetings and the conference calls. This is the host team. And it seems somewhat random the way the Rachel and got people together and co-hosts and people on the team. But I've never worked with a more dedicated group. I've always been in groups where someone, I can't come today, I can't do this, and there was none of that negativity, and even when people couldn't do conference calls or people couldn't answer emails, they did it quietly, they did it efficiently on their own, and it was just such a pleasure to work with the group. Something like that, this does not just happen. I think it was a tribute to the people who committed themselves from the beginning and who saw this through, because I don't think any of us really understood how this works, you know, and they were very careful not to overdo telling us, right?
Yeah.
So, but we became a part of the process. I think that's what was really exciting, that we had no preconceived ideas. Well, we had some ideas, but no really preconceived ideas, and we couldn't dominate anything because we didn't know what there was to dominate. So, you know, and to get people out from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, the host team at least, and, you know, do what they need to do. It all worked. I think Rachel did a fantastic job, and a lot of work behind the scenes with Wendy and especially with Elizabeth. And she's very good at this. I think there's a lot of, I think that we're part of a bigger picture, and more people have to realize this. This is not just a meeting that took place about Rahway. This is a meeting that piggybacked on what was done in Morristown, what was done in Monmouth County, what continues to be going on there, what started with a conference called Creative New Jersey, and there are going to be more of these creative throughout the state. When you get a buzz going like that, there has to be some impact. Although each group has been so different in composition, but not necessarily in purpose. They all want the same thing for their towns to prosper and move forward. So
I think for anyone who has the opportunity to take part in one of these conferences, it's time well spent. Mm-hmm. It was interesting yesterday morning when we started, and it seemed so open and so formless, and well, you're going to do this. Mm-hmm. But it was remarkable how quickly it all came together, and people did stand up and did have opinions and did offer their suggestions, and it really made it very vibrant and vital.
Right, and also a kind of safe space, that there wasn't, I'm not going to say that because I work in City Hall, or I'm not going to say that because, you know, it's going to get back to the people, you know, here and there. There was none of that. There was none of the backstabbing or blaming or any of the negativity that sometimes people, when they get together, see it as a kind of gab session. People were, for the most part, very positive, and if they didn't want to be, they walked away maybe and went somewhere else, you know. And I think a tribute also, my last comment, about the participants and their willingness to come. And yes, not everyone came both days or stayed the whole time, but I think a very respectable percentage did. And we started out with an impressive number of people. I think the number was like 78 in total, which is quite good for a town our size. I'm not sure the others were that big, either the county or the other city who did this, or that did this. So, good job, Rahway.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.